We are in the 39th day of our journey. So I want to share with you quickly a thought. I'm sure you're familiar with the story that with two words Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. And these two words are called Bar Kamza. So the story goes very quickly. I'm not going to say the whole story, but there was a certain individual in Yerushalayim, a very rich individual, who threw a party. Some say it was a wedding, some say it was a party, but it doesn't matter. And he sent out an invitation. There was some type of an error in the mail, and instead of going to a person called Kamza, it went to a person called Bar Kamza, the son of Kamza. Okay, happened to be that these two were enemies. The person who threw the party, everybody's there, chief rabbi, head rabbis, all the scholars, who was the party of the century. And of course, this individual gets an invitation. He says, this guy's my enemy, and he's inviting me to the party. Maybe he wants to ask for forgiveness, whatever. I'll come. He puts on a nice suit, goes to the event, and suddenly the host sees Bar Kamza over there. Comes up to him and says, what are you doing here? He says, I got an invitation from you. I didn't send you an invitation. He said, what are you talking about? Here's the invitation. He says, no, that's a typo. It wasn't supposed to go to you. You're not invited. Get out of here. So Bar Kamza, and I'm telling you the story very short. This is something, if you want, we can learn it throughout Tisha B'Av. That's one of the stories that can be learned from the Talmud. So, of course, he tells him, get out of here. I don't want to see you here. So he tells him, listen, I'm already here. I'm already dressed. Listen, everybody's here. This is a big event. All the chief rabbis, scholars, chachamim, kohanim. Let me stay here. I'll just, don't embarrass me now in front of everybody. He tells him, get out of here. He says, oh, if it's okay, I'll pay for my meal. Tell me the price. I'll pay. He says, I don't want you here. He says, I'll pay for 10 meals. I don't want you here. I'll pay for half the seudah. Half the party, I'll pay for it. Just don't embarrass me in front of everybody. I don't want you here. Get out of here. He says, I'll pay for the entire event. Just don't embarrass me. Get out! And he looks at him. No problem. I will get out. And he goes out. And of course, the story is history. He went to the Roman Caesar, said that the Jews are planning a mered, uprising. And he started stirring things up. And one thing led to another and got the whole temple destroyed. I don't want to elaborate on the story. You go to Masechet Gitin and read the story by yourself, and you'll see. But it says for two words, the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. Bar Kamza. Now, I do advise that you read the story more in depth. What happened, how he went. I'm not saying Bar Kamza was right, going to the Roman, to the Caesar, and bad-mouthing us and bringing this on us. But that's not what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on, that there's a big question in the Mefarshim, in the commentary. What was the big deal? That really was what brought the destruction. The fact that he snitched, the fact that he fought, the fact that the guy embarrassed him. What was the main problem here? And to many, they come to the conclusion that, I'll tell you what was the problem. Everybody was there. All the VIPs, Kohanim, priests, rabbis, Anshei Knesset Agdola, people from the Great Assembly, everybody was there. And there was one problem, that was really the problem. And the problem is, Shelo Micho, that nobody protested. Nobody stood up and said to the first guy, back off. Let it go. Stop. No, but everybody sat there, looked what's going on, and nobody said anything. And that's really the message that we need to take from that. Now, it doesn't mean right now that we have a situation of a Bar Kamza and Kamza Bar Kamza, but we do have a situation that people see and don't say anything. And I believe, and that's the belief of many, is that's what brings the most judgments on us. That you see somebody being embarrassed, somebody being mocked, somebody being pursued, somebody being, how do you say, I don't want to say the word crucified, but how would you say when everybody goes against? And nobody's saying anything. And that brings such dinim, such judgment on us to a point that can bring a destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. So you have to internalize from this little message when you are required to stand up and to protest for an action that you see. So we read a few weeks ago about the zealous act of Pinchas. He protested. He says, enough is enough. You're not going to mock Hashem in front of everybody. Now, by the way, the protest, the mecha'ah, doesn't have to be necessarily between another person. It can be when you see there's a chilul Hashem. So now they're going to have 250,000 homosexuals walking around in the streets of Yerushalayim. I don't see many people going out and protesting. This should be a mecha'ah. Should be a protest. What are you doing? This is the holy city. This is the land of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. What, are you making a joke and walking half naked in the streets like making a joke? Where's the mecha'ah? Where's the protest against Hashem? There's pritzutz everywhere. Pritzut, promiscuity. Women are walking half naked in the streets, and nobody's doing it. Nobody's saying anything for the honor of Hashem. So first of all, it's you can focus it on something small. That sometimes you see a crowd of people sitting, one person is being attacked by everybody, and nobody says, guys, relax, what do you want from this guy? Okay, so he was wrong, let him go. How many times you see people talking, lashon hara, about a certain individual, everybody is attacking, going against one person. Doesn't matter right now, the person is right or wrong, but nobody's standing forward and says, can you all relax? So what's the big, let's say, we're all observant Jews, let's see how we can work around it. Why there's no mecha'ah here? So maybe when the camera's off, I'll tell you more of a private situation that is bringing many dinim on many people. But the thing is that they say in Hebrew, amavin yavin, whoever understands. Sometimes, the Talmud says, Dai lechakim birmiza. For a person who's smart, you only need to say a hint. You don't have to go into details. But when there's an attack on one individual, and it doesn't matter right now if it's wrong or not, but assuming it's wrong, and there's no mecha'ah, there's no protest, there's a problem. So there's two channels how you can look at it. When it's done against an individual or a group, and when it's done against Hashem. What you need to worry about, I know it might sound a little bit rude what I'm saying, but you have to worry about yotuches. And that means that you have to worry when you are not being the one who's doing the protest. Because, I'm not going to get into the whole drasha about Pinchas and Yosef. Yosef did a very great act, so he gained the letter Hey for that in Tehillim it says Yehosef. Because he did an act, he moved his hand away from the Efeshet Potiphar. Leave me alone. The same thing we see with Pinchas. Pinchas, look what he gained from doing an act of zealous. Asher kina le'elokav. He was stepped forward and he did a protest. I'm not willing to take it. Now, I'm not telling you to be a Pinchas. Definitely not go do something violent. I'm not promoting violence. I'm just saying that you need to know when is your time to protest. And don't be shy. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be afraid. When it's the time to limchot, you might be the one that can save the day. Now, in some cases, you have time to consult your rabbinical authority, your rabbi, what and how it needs to be done. In some cases, it's going to be an act of a quick thought. What am I doing? Now, I'm not going to guide you now when and how to do it. I'm just telling you that not protesting brought a destruction. So, of course, the protesting in the right way, at the right time, can bring a redemption and the rebuilding of Beit HaMikdash. And, of course, the same thing. You don't protest at the right time, you might be responsible for another destruction. I can just imagine the situation there. How could it be that nobody stood up and told Kamsa, okay, azavato, leave him alone. Let him pay for half the meal. What do you care? Even if not, doesn't matter, just back off. Look, it's not the right place. In Hebrew we say, lo matim. It's not appropriate now. Back off. Back up. Leave it alone. So I take from that you need to know when to be a Pinchas. You need to know when to be stepping forward. And it's not only a Pinchas, it's many others. And to know how to limchot and say, no, I don't agree with this. I do not agree with that. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be afraid. Usually when you protest, then you'll get a lot of enemies. So, I don't know, if you're running in a popularity contest and you want to be popular, that's a whole different problem. But I want to be popular only in the eyes of Hashem. I don't care about if people like me or not. I care if Hashem likes me or not. And I care if I'm doing what Hashem wants me to do. And at some points, Hashem says, be quiet, don't react. And in some cases, Hashem says, now go. Now protest. and fight for the honor of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So like I told you, look at it in two paths. One, when it's done against a person, and you need to protest, a person, a congregation, a community. And the next is when it comes against Hashem. And many people are mocking Hashem, and there's not enough people who are protesting and saying, "Hello, back off, you are doing a Chilul Hashem." I don't agree with you. I do believe that if we would have more people protesting at the right time, I'm not saying protesting about the cost of yellow cheese. That's not the protest I'm talking about. I'm talking about limchot, to protest against the Chilul Hashem. Take it as it is. You can dwell more deeper on what I'm saying now. I'm going to cut it short just that you can take it. You should chew on it and digest on it. And you need to understand, when am I not protesting? That can cause a distraction. When I should protest, that will cause a redemption, a Geula. You already develop it yourself, and like I told you, if it's something that is not immediate, then consult with your rabbi, with a real rabbinical authority, how the protest needs to be done. That chas v'shalom should not be a chilul Hashem, and listen to the right rabbinical authority. But you might be called in an emergency situation to step forward. Then you have to be prepared for that. And the honor of Hashem is more important than anybody, more than your honor, more than your safety. It's the fighting for the honor of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, to do Kiddush Hashem. And needless to say, sometimes it's not on Hashem per se, but in one of Hashem's messengers. If you see a certain rabbi being attacked, talking about a real rabbi, not somebody who's a heretic that goes around the internet and spreading lies just to have more likes and more views. It's not a rabbi. This is a rabbanim. But it all has to be done with the right judgment. But has to be a protest. And if somebody who's kosher and legit is being attacked by a mob, not physically, but it can be on the internet, can be verbally, and nobody says anything, just know that this brings big judgments on the people who say that, on the city and the community, and on the entire world. And when you see chas v'shalom, Hashem's messenger, Al tigu b'mshichai uvinvei al tareu, says David HaMelech. Don't talk bad about my messengers, Hashem says. Be very careful if you talk bad about my close messengers. Messengers, he says meshichai. Meshichai means the one, not meshichim, the ones who are anointed. Uneviyai al tareu, my prophets. In our generations, we don't have kings that are meshuchim, and we don't have prophets, but we have great rabbis. Great individuals that dedicate their entire life to the Torah and to the nation of Israel and to the kavod of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And people go against them and there's no protest, it's a big problem. And it's in one way or another, it's also a mocking of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So take that to consideration a day before Tisha B'Av, internalize it, and you have to figure out yourself when you need to protest, when it's the right time, and when it's of course the right time to be quiet. Bezrat Hashem, with a few more Pinchases, we can bring back the Kadosh, the honor of the Kadosh Baruch Hu into this world. And as the prophet says, "V'nir'ah chvod havaya," and the honor of the Kadosh Baruch Hu should be seen, and chas v'shalom should not be mocked one way or another. May Hashem bless us with a Geula, with a redemption that should come b'chesed v'rachamim. Hopefully Mashiach will come very fast, even today, so we don't have to fast today. And Bezrat Hashem, see with our own eyes the building of Beit HaMikdash.